Story 1. I've been working construction for 23 years, and I'm currently the site foreman for Premier Home Builders. We specialize in custom luxury homes, and I've seen my share of difficult clients, nosy neighbors, and permit inspectors having bad days. But what happened at our Maplewood construction site last Thursday was something that still has the whole crew talking. We were building a beautiful modern farmhouse for the Thompson family, a young couple with 2 kids who'd saved for years to afford their dream home. The design was contemporary but tasteful, with clean lines, large windows, and natural stone accents. It was exactly what they'd requested, and we were proud of the work we were doing. The house was about 60% complete when we scheduled a hard hat tour for potential clients. These tours are common in our business. People want to see the quality of our work before they commit to building their own homes. We had 6 couples signed up to walk through the site with our sales manager and lead architect. I was coordinating with the electricians when I saw our group approaching. Everyone was wearing the required hard hats and safety vests, staying within the marked safe zones. The tour was going smoothly until a woman in her 50s came marching across the construction site like she owned the place. She wasn't wearing any safety equipment and was walking right through areas where we had machinery operating and materials stacked. My first concern was for her safety. Construction sites are dangerous places for unauthorized personnel. Ma'am, you can't be here. This is an active construction zone. Karen, I live in this neighborhood, and I have every right to see what kind of eyesore you're building. I understand your concern, but you need safety equipment to be on this site. Please step back behind the safety barriers. Karen, safety barriers? I don't need safety barriers. I need answers about this architectural disaster. The tour group had stopped to watch this confrontation, and our sales manager looked mortified. These were potential clients worth hundreds of thousands of dollars in future business. Sales manager, ma'am, if you'd like to discuss the project, we can schedule a meeting at our office. Karen, I don't want a meeting. I want this ugly monstrosity torn down immediately. She was gesturing wildly at the house frame, completely ignoring the safety protocols and the fact that she was trespassing on private property. Karen, this modern garbage is completely inappropriate for our neighborhood. It's offending our community's aesthetic vibe. Ma'am, this home was designed to the client's specifications and approved by the city planning department. Karen, I don't care about the planning department. This design is ruining the character of our street. The house was actually quite beautiful, a perfect blend of modern and traditional elements that complemented the surrounding homes. But Karen was acting like we were building a nuclear waste facility. Architect, the design incorporates many traditional farmhouse elements while adding contemporary conveniences. It's very much in keeping with neighborhood standards. Karen, traditional. This looks like a spaceship. Where are the shutters? Where's the front porch? This is an insult to everyone who lives here. One of the tour clients, a woman about Karen's age, spoke up. Tour client, actually, I think it's beautiful. Very tasteful and modern. Karen, you obviously have no sense of architectural integrity. This house will destroy our property values. Ma'am, I need you to leave this site immediately. You're trespassing and creating a safety hazard. Karen, I'm not going anywhere until you agree to redesign this monstrosity. We're not redesigning anything. This house is being built to the client's specifications. Karen, then I'm calling the governor. He'll shut this project down when he hears about this architectural assault on our community. The tour group was now openly staring at Karen's meltdown. Some were even pulling out their phones to record her rant. Karen, do you people have any idea who I am? I've lived in this neighborhood for 15 years. I have influence. Sales manager. Ma'am, regardless of how long you've lived here, you can't trespass on our construction site. Karen, trespass. This is public land. No, ma'am, this is private property owned by our clients. You're trespassing. Karen, that's impossible. I demand to see the property lines. She started walking around the site, peering at stakes and markers, while completely ignoring the safety hazards around her. Karen, these property lines must be wrong. This house is too close to the street. Architect, the setbacks are all in compliance with city codes. We have all the necessary permits and approvals. Karen, your permits are meaningless. I'm going to have this whole project investigated. That's when she made her biggest mistake. She walked directly into the area where our concrete crew was preparing to pour a foundation section. Concrete worker, lady, get out of there. We're about to start pouring. Karen, I'll move when you agree to redesign this architectural nightmare. Me, that's it. I'm calling security. Karen, security. You can't have me arrested for caring about my neighborhood. Me, I can have you arrested for trespassing and interfering with construction operations. The security company we use for job sites arrived within 10 minutes. They found Karen still ranting about architectural integrity while standing in a clearly marked hazard zone. Security, ma'am, you need to leave this property immediately. Karen, I'm not leaving until they agree to build something appropriate for this neighborhood. Security, you're trespassing on private property. You can leave voluntarily or be escorted out. Karen, this is harassment. I'm protecting the aesthetic values of this community. The tour group watched in amazement as security escorted Karen off the property while she continued screaming about modern architecture and neighborhood character. Karen, you'll be hearing from the governor about this, and the mayor, and the architectural review board. As promised, Karen did file complaints with various city departments. She contacted the mayor's office, the planning department, and even tried to reach the governor's office about what she called architectural terrorism in her neighborhood. Every single complaint was dismissed. Our permits were in order, the design met all code requirements, and the homeowners had every right to build the house they wanted. But Karen wasn't done. She started a petition in the neighborhood to have the house design changed. She got exactly 3 signatures, her own, her husband's, and one neighbor who later admitted he hadn't actually read what he was signing. The real victory came when our company president decided to have some fun with the situation. He named our next house model the Karen, a modern farmhouse design almost identical to the one Karen had complained about. The marketing materials featured the tagline, bold, contemporary design that makes a statement, with a photo of the house Karen had tried to shut down. The model became our best seller that year. Apparently, plenty of people wanted a house that would offend the neighborhood's vibe and look like a spaceship. Karen was fined for trespassing and received a restraining order preventing her from coming within 500 feet of any of our construction sites. She tried to fight it in court, claiming she was protecting neighborhood aesthetics, but the judge wasn't impressed. The Thompson family moved into their beautiful modern farmhouse 6 months later. They loved it so much that they hired us to build a matching guest house in their backyard. Karen still drives by the house regularly, according to the Thompsons. She slows down and shakes her head disapprovingly, but she keeps her distance from the property line. The best part is that the house has inspired several other families in the neighborhood to hire us for their own modern renovations. Karen's architectural disaster ended up transforming the whole street into a showcase of contemporary design. Sometimes the best way to deal with people who hate change is to give them more of what they're complaining about. Story 2. I've been working at Roller World for 3 years now, starting as a floor guard and working my way up to shift supervisor. It's not the most glamorous job, but I genuinely love the atmosphere, kids having fun, families celebrating birthdays, and the nostalgic vibe of roller skating culture. Most of our customers are just here to have a good time, but occasionally you get someone who thinks the entire rink should revolve around them. I started working here during college when I needed a job that would let me study during slow periods. The owner, Mike, is a great guy who really cares about making sure kids have a safe place to have fun. We host birthday parties every weekend, and watching kids light up when they finally master skating backwards or nail a trick never gets old. Last Saturday was supposed to be a typical birthday party day. We had little Emma's 9th birthday celebration booked from 2 to 4 p.m. 20 kids, pizza, cake, and our regular DJ playing age-appropriate music. Everything was going perfectly until this woman showed up on roller skates about an hour into the party. I noticed her immediately because she wasn't part of the birthday group, and she was skating in a very aggressive, attention-seeking way. She was doing elaborate spins and jumps right in the middle of where the kids were trying to skate, forcing them to dodge around her. After a few minutes of this behavior, she skated directly over to our DJ booth, where Marcus was playing some upbeat pop music that had all the 9-year-olds dancing on their skates. "Karen, excuse me. This music is completely inappropriate." Marcus looked confused. He'd been jing kids' parties for 5 years and knew exactly what worked for different age groups. "Marcus, ma'am, this is a private birthday party. The music is specifically chosen for 9-year-olds. "Karen, well, it's not inclusive enough. What about adults who want to skate? What about different musical cultures?" "Marcus, this is a children's birthday party, not a public session. You're welcome to come back during open skate hours." "Karen, I have every right to be here. This is a public business." I skated over to intervene before things escalated further. "Me, hi there. I'm the shift supervisor. Is there something I can help you with?" "Karen, yes, I demand that your DJ play music that represents all communities. This pop garbage is culturally insensitive." "Me, ma'am, this is a private birthday party for 9-year-olds. The family specifically requested this type of music." "Karen, 9-year-olds need to be exposed to real music. I have a mixtape that would be perfect for expanding their horizons." She pulled out a CD from her fanny pack and tried to hand it to Marcus. "Karen, this is my original composition rap music about social justice and environmental awareness. These children need to hear it." Emma's mom, who had been watching this interaction with growing concern, skated over to us. Emma's mom, "Excuse me, but this is my daughter's birthday party. Could you please let us enjoy our celebration?" "Karen, your daughter's celebration is exactly why she needs to hear diverse music. I'm trying to educate these children." Emma's mom, "I don't want my 9-year-old daughter listening to rap music from a stranger. Please leave us alone." "Karen, this is discrimination. You're denying these children access to important cultural experiences." At this point, several of the kids had stopped skating to watch the argument. They looked confused and a little scared by this adult yelling at their party. "Me, ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. This is a private event, and you're disrupting the celebration." "Karen, I'm not leaving until these children get proper musical education." Before I could stop her, Karen skated rapidly toward the DJ booth and grabbed the microphone right out of Marcus's hand. "Karen, attention everyone. I'm about to perform some real music for you." The kids all turned to stare at her as she started some kind of spoken word performance about recycling and corporate responsibility. Her delivery was completely inappropriate for the audience. She was using complex vocabulary and political concepts that went way over their heads. "Marcus, ma'am, give me back the microphone right now." "Karen, freedom of speech. These children deserve to hear authentic artistic expression." She was skating in circles while trying to freestyle rap, waving the microphone around dramatically. The kids were giggling and pointing, treating it like some kind of weird entertainment. "Emma, mommy, why is that lady talking so weird?" Emma's mom, "I don't know, honey. Just stay away from her." Karen's performance was getting more elaborate and aggressive. She was attempting spins and jumps while rapping about climate change, completely oblivious to how ridiculous she looked. "Karen, the polar ice caps are melting, corporations are stealing, and children need to start feeling the truth about environmental healing." One of the little boys started laughing so hard he could barely stay upright on his skates. "Boy, she's not very good at rhyming." This seemed to offend Karen, who decided to up her performance with more dramatic skating moves. She attempted some kind of backwards spin while gesturing wildly with the microphone. That's when disaster struck. Karen hit a rough patch on the rink floor and completely lost control. Her feet went out from under her, and she went sliding across the rink on her back, still clutching the microphone and trying to continue her rap. She slammed directly into the cake table, which was set up near the edge of the rink. The impact sent Emma's beautiful unicorn cake flying through the air, along with paper plates, napkins, and juice boxes. The crash was spectacular. Karen ended up covered in pink frosting and unicorn decorations, while the microphone went skittering across the floor with feedback screeching through the speakers. For a moment, everyone just stared in shock. Then the kids started cheering and applauding like it was the best part of the whole party. "Emma, that was awesome. Do it again." "Boy, she's covered in cake. This is the best birthday party ever." Karen struggled to her feet, dripping with frosting and glitter, looking absolutely mortified. "Karen, this was an accident. Your floor is unsafe." Ma'am, you stole our microphone, disrupted a children's party, and destroyed their cake. You need to leave immediately." "Emma's mom, and you're paying for that cake. It costs $60. "Karen, I was providing cultural enrichment. This is all a misunderstanding." Mike, the owner, had heard the commotion and skated over to assess the damage. "Mike, what happened here?" I quickly explained the situation while Karen tried to wipe cake frosting out of her hair. "Mike, ma'am, you're banned from this establishment permanently. Security cameras caught everything, and we'll be filing a report with the police." "Karen, you can't ban me. I'm a paying customer." "Mike, you didn't pay for anything. You crashed a private party and destroyed property." As we were escorting Karen off the rink floor, the kids started chanting and cheering. They thought her dramatic cake crash was the highlight of the party. "Kids, cake lady, cake lady, cake lady. Emma, this is the best birthday party ever. Can we have the cake lady come to my next party too?" Karen was escorted out still covered in frosting, muttering about artistic suppression and discrimination against independent musicians. The kids waved goodbye enthusiastically, treating her like she'd been hired entertainment. We managed to salvage the party by ordering pizza shaped like a cake and letting the kids vote on music for the rest of the celebration. Emma declared it the most exciting birthday ever and asked if the cake lady would be at her friend's party next week. Marcus still laughs about the incident and has started calling elaborate DJ booth crashes pulling a Karen. The security footage became legendary among our staff, though we obviously can't share it publicly. Sometimes the best entertainment comes from the people who are trying way too hard to be entertaining. Story 3. I've been working in human resources for 12 years, and I thought I'd seen every possible interview scenario. After graduating with a psychology degree and struggling to find my direction, I discovered that recruiting combines my interest in people with practical business skills. I've worked my way up from entry-level recruiting to senior talent acquisition at a mid-sized technology company. We're known for our thorough but fair interview process and our collaborative work environment. Our company culture emphasizes respect, professionalism, and teamwork. We interview hundreds of candidates each year for positions ranging from entry-level support roles to senior engineering positions. I pride myself on being thorough but encouraging during interviews, helping candidates present their best selves while accurately assessing their qualifications and fit for our team. Last month, I was conducting interviews for a junior marketing analyst position. It's an entry-level role perfect for recent graduates, offering good training opportunities and career growth potential. We had received over 200 applications and narrowed it down to 8 promising candidates for in-person interviews. One applicant was a recent college graduate whose resume showed decent grades and some relevant internship experience. His cover letter was generic, and his initial phone screening was adequate but not particularly impressive. Still, he met the basic qualifications, so we scheduled him for an in-person interview. The young man arrived on time and seemed nervous but polite. We started with standard interview questions about his background, interest in marketing, and career goals. His answers were rehearsed and lacking depth, but that's normal for someone with limited professional experience. Me, can you tell me about a time when you had to work as part of a team to solve a problem? Chad. Well, in college I was part of a group project where we had to create a marketing campaign for a local business. I took the lead because I knew the other students weren't as qualified as me. His answer revealed some concerning attitudes about teamwork, but I continued with the interview to give him a fair assessment. Me, what interests you most about this particular position at our company? Chad, my mom says your company has good benefits and job security. She researched all the local marketing jobs and said this one would be perfect for me. I was making notes about his lack of independent research and motivation when there was a loud knock on the conference room door. Before I could respond, a middle-aged woman burst into the room. Karen. Chad. Honey, how is the interview going? I hope this person is treating you well. Chad looked mortified, but the woman ignored his obvious embarrassment and turned to examine me with obvious disapproval. Chad. Mom, what are you doing here? You're supposed to wait in the car. Karen. I just wanted to make sure everything was going smoothly. I've been watching through the window, and this interviewer looks far too smug for someone who's supposed to be evaluating my son. Me, ma'am, this is a private interview. I'm going to need you to leave the room immediately. Karen, I don't think so. I've been in business for 20 years, and I can tell when someone isn't taking a candidate seriously. Your whole attitude screams arrogance. I had maintained a professional demeanor throughout the interview, asking standard questions and taking notes. There was nothing smug or inappropriate about my conduct. Me, I assure you I'm conducting this interview professionally. However, company policy requires that interviews be conducted privately. Please wait in the lobby. Karen, company policy. I want to know what qualifies you to evaluate my son. What's your educational background? How long have you been doing this job? Chad was sinking lower into his chair, clearly wishing he could disappear. Other employees were starting to notice the commotion through the glass conference room walls. Me, ma'am, I'm not going to discuss my qualifications with you. This interview is between your son and our company. Karen, see? That's exactly the smug attitude I'm talking about. You think you're too good to answer simple questions about your credentials. Me, I'm ending this interview now. Sir, thank you for your time. We'll be in touch about next steps. Karen, you can't end the interview. My son deserves a fair evaluation from someone who's actually qualified to judge his potential. Chad finally found his voice, though he looked like he wanted to crawl under the table. Chad, Mom, please stop. You're making this worse. Karen, I'm protecting your interests, honey. This person clearly doesn't appreciate what an exceptional candidate you are. Me, I need both of you to leave the building now. Security will escort you out if necessary. Karen, you can't kick us out. I run a networking empire in this city, and I can make sure no one quality ever applies to work here again. I had to suppress a laugh at her claim about running a networking empire. Based on her son's interview answers, her networking seemed to consist of researching job postings online and pushing him to apply. Karen, I know people at every major company in town. I could have my son working anywhere he wants. You're making a huge mistake by not recognizing his value. Security arrived at that moment, having been called by my colleague who witnessed the disruption. Karen was still ranting about her connections and my inadequate qualifications as they approached. Security guard, ma'am, I need you to leave the premises immediately. You're disrupting business operations. Karen, this is discrimination. You're all conspiring against my son because you're intimidated by his potential. The security guard escorted them out while Karen continued shouting about lawsuits and her powerful network of business contacts. Chad followed silently, his face red with embarrassment. After they left, I documented the entire incident in detail. Our company takes professional conduct seriously, and parental interference in interviews is absolutely unacceptable. I shared the incident with our hiring manager and our legal department. We decided that the candidate's inability to manage his mother's inappropriate behavior, combined with his poor interview performance, disqualified him from consideration. But the situation escalated when Karen began calling our company repeatedly, demanding to speak with my supervisor about my unprofessional conduct. She left multiple voicemails claiming that I had discriminated against her son and threatening legal action. Our legal team reviewed the conference room security footage, which clearly showed her barging into a private interview and becoming aggressive when asked to leave. Her behavior constituted trespassing and harassment. The final straw came when Karen started posting negative reviews online, claiming our company discriminates against qualified candidates and employs arrogant recruiters. She also began contacting other local businesses, apparently trying to organize some kind of boycott. Our marketing department decided to address the situation publicly. They released a statement on our company's social media accounts explaining that we maintain professional standards during our hiring process and that parental interference in interviews is unacceptable. The statement concluded with an unprecedented announcement. Due to recent events, our company will not consider any future job applications or referrals associated with this individual. The post went viral locally, with hundreds of comments from other business owners sharing similar stories about helicopter parents interfering in their children's professional lives. Several other companies announced they were implementing similar policies. Chad apparently tried to apply for other positions in town, but Karen's reputation had preceded them. Her aggressive phone calls to multiple HR departments and her online rants about networking empires had made her notorious in the local business community. The incident became a cautionary tale that we now share during management training about dealing with inappropriate parental involvement in the hiring process. It reminded everyone why we have professional boundaries and why maintaining them is essential for a respectful workplace. I never heard from either of them again, but I occasionally wonder if Chad ever managed to find a job without his mother's help. The whole experience reinforced my belief that the best candidates are those who can handle the interview process independently and professionally. Story 4. I've been working as a lifeguard at our city's public pool for 2 summers now. It's actually a pretty great job. I get to stay in shape, work on my own tan, and help keep families safe while they enjoy the water. Most days are pretty routine, but every once in a while, you get a situation that reminds you why customer service jobs can be so challenging. Our municipal pool complex has a large main pool, a kiddie pool, and plenty of deck space with lounge chairs for people who want to relax in the sun. We get a good mix of families with young children, teenagers hanging out with friends, and adults looking to get some exercise or catch some rays. Generally, everyone gets along fine and shares the space respectfully. Last Saturday was a perfect summer day, sunny, 85 degrees, with just enough breeze to keep things comfortable. The pool was busy but not overcrowded, and I was stationed in my usual spot on the lifeguard chair overlooking the main pool. Around 2 p.m., I noticed a woman in her 40s setting up an elaborate tanning station near the shallow end. She had multiple towels, a reflective tanning mat, several bottles of different sunscreens and tanning oils, and what looked like a professional-grade portable speaker. She spent about 15 minutes arranging everything just right, moving her lounge chair multiple times to find the perfect angle for maximum sun exposure. About 20 feet away, a young couple was in the shallow end with their toddler, who couldn't have been more than 2 years old. The little kid was having the time of his life, giggling and splashing around while his parents kept a close eye on him. It was exactly the kind of wholesome family fun that public pools are designed for. The woman with the elaborate tanning setup kept glancing over at the family with obvious irritation. Every time the toddler laughed or splashed, she would look up from her magazine and shake her head disapprovingly. After about 30 minutes of this, she finally got up and marched over to where I was positioned. "Karen, excuse me. I need you to do something about that situation immediately." Me, "What situation, ma'am?" "Karen, that child is ruining my tanning session. The constant splashing is getting water on me and disrupting my relaxation time. I looked over at the family. The toddler was playing quietly in about 18 inches of water, well within the designated shallow area. Ma'am, children are allowed to play in the pool. That's what it's designed for. Karen, not when it interferes with other people's activities. I've been planning this tanning session all week, and I refuse to let some undisciplined child ruin it. The family is using the pool appropriately. If you're concerned about splashing, you might want to move your chair further from the water. Karen, I shouldn't have to move. I was here first, and I picked this spot specifically for optimal sun exposure. That family needs to control their child or leave. The toddler's parents had noticed the woman pointing in their direction and were starting to look uncomfortable. The little boy was completely oblivious, still happily playing in the water. Ma'am, public pools are designed for families with children. Splashing is a normal part of swimming and water play. Karen, this is completely unacceptable. I demand you make them stop or drain the pool until they leave. I actually thought she was joking at first. The idea of draining an entire public pool because a toddler was splashing seemed so absurd. I can't drain the pool, ma'am. That's not how public facilities work. Karen, then what exactly are you going to do about this situation? I'm a taxpayer, and I have just as much right to enjoy this facility as anyone else. You're absolutely right that you have the right to enjoy the pool. But so do the other families here. I'd be happy to help you find a chair location that's further from the water if splashing is a concern. Karen, I'm not moving. This is the prime tanning spot, and I got here first. Those people need to keep their child under control. At this point, my supervisor had noticed the commotion and came over to see what was happening. Supervisor, is there a problem here? Karen, yes. This lifeguard is refusing to address the fact that a child is ruining my tanning experience. I want that family removed from the pool immediately. Supervisor, ma'am, children are welcome to play in the pool as long as they're supervised and following safety rules. Karen, but the splashing is getting me wet. I've spent $40 on premium tanning products, and this is completely sabotaging my session. Supervisor, I understand your frustration, but we can't ask families to leave because children are playing in the water. Would you like help relocating to a drier area? Karen, no, I want the water level lowered so there's less splashing, or I want that family kicked out for disturbing other patrons. The supervisor and I exchanged glances. This was quickly moving beyond a reasonable complaint into entitled territory. Supervisor, ma'am, we're not going to drain the pool or ask families to leave because of normal water play. Those are your only options. Karen, this is discrimination against adults who want to use the pool area for relaxation. You're prioritizing children over paying customers. Everyone here is a paying customer, ma'am. The entrance fee is the same for everyone. That's when Karen completely lost her composure. She stormed back to her tanning station and started gathering up her supplies while muttering loudly about incompetent staff and poor facility management. Karen, this is completely unprofessional. I'm going to report this entire facility for false advertising. She was still within earshot of multiple families, and several parents were starting to shield their children from her increasingly aggressive behavior. Karen, you people clearly don't understand the first thing about customer service. I have every right to tan in peace without being assaulted by flying water. My supervisor followed her to try to de-escalate the situation. Supervisor, ma'am, please lower your voice. You're disturbing other families. Karen, I don't care about other families. They're the ones disturbing me. She picked up one of her towels and threw it directly at my supervisor, hitting him in the chest. Karen, maybe that will get your attention. This facility is completely mismanaged. That's when we had to call security. Throwing objects at staff members crosses the line from difficult customer to disorderly conduct. Security guard, ma'am, I need you to gather your belongings and leave the premises immediately. Karen, you can't kick me out. I paid to be here, and I haven't done anything wrong. Security guard, You threw an object at a staff member. That's grounds for immediate removal and a potential ban. Karen, that was barely a tap. I was trying to make a point about the terrible service, but the decision was made. Karen was escorted off the property while still arguing about her rights as a taxpayer and the discrimination she was facing as a tanning enthusiast. The whole incident took about 45 minutes from start to finish. Once she was gone, the atmosphere around the pool immediately relaxed. The family with the toddler stayed for another hour, and their little boy continued to splash and play happily. Later that week, I found out that Karen had been banned from all city pool facilities for the remainder of the summer. She'd also been issued a citation for disorderly conduct, which carried a fine of $200. The ban apparently extended beyond just our pool. She tried to visit the community center pool across town and was turned away when her name came up in their system. She also attempted to appeal the decision through the Parks and Recreation Department, arguing that children should have designated splash times to accommodate adult relaxation periods. Her appeal was denied. The whole experience reminded me why I love working at the pool, despite occasional difficult customers. For every entitled person who thinks public facilities should revolve around their personal preferences, there are dozens of families just trying to have fun and cool off during the summer. That toddler probably doesn't remember the day some angry lady got upset about his splashing, but he got to spend a perfect afternoon playing in the water with his parents. That's exactly what public pools are supposed to be about.